I am Hatonn, and I greet you, my friends, in the love and in the light of our infinite Creator. We are strengthening our hold upon this instrument in order that we may speak more loudly, for this instrument is used to speaking quietly, and we find that not all were able to hear the previous sentences. We trust this level is appropriate for this portion of your dwelling. We thank you for asking us to share some of our thoughts with you on this very beautiful twilight of your third density world. How lovely is your habitation! How gracious are your second density creatures! Your birds singing to the evening in the trees themselves lifting their fingers to the last rays of the sun as it bids farewell for one more day. How quietly your dwelling place rests and cradles you so that you may have comfort and protection and shelter. And in a way, we can't see how these things could almost be taken as evidence that the universe is rigid, for the house does not move, it does not get up and dance, nor do the trees seem to clap their hands for joy, nor are the birds' songs construed by your peoples as chantries of happiness. Rather, it is expected. It is the unnoticed, and in many cases it may seem to be the prison within which you must live, which does not seem to have enough choices, nor give you enough freedom. Let's talk about how there was once a young boy who searched for freedom. He felt the restrictions of his parents, as they asked him to do many chores and to live up to many expectations, many of which he was unable to fulfill, some of which he was. Yet he did not wish to differentiate between what he could and could not do. He simply wished to be free from all the expectations and from all the responsibility. And so this young man left his home and went out into the world to seek freedom. He quickly discovered that it was wise to furnish oneself with enough of your people's money that he could buy those things which made him happy. And so he began to accumulate the accoutrements of freedom. He had liberations that would make him feel very happy. He tried various chemicals that altered his consciousness and made him feel ecstasy. He chose among the pretty young girls and found sexual fulfillment to add to him happiness also. He bought the clothes that he liked. He lived the way that he liked, and for a while he was very happy because he had found his freedom. Well, there came a time when no liberation made him truly happy anymore, when no repetition of mind-altering drugs was enough to fulfill his needs for understanding, and even when no pretty girl could charm him completely, as he gazed only upon the outward portion, knowing nothing of the individual inside. And yet he had formed his life around the premise that these things constituted freedom. And so he realized that he must reevaluate what freedom is. For one thing he was sure of, and that was that freedom carried with it a side effect, and that was happiness. Now, upon reflection, he realized that he had bounded himself in slavery to his own desires, because those desires were not interesting for the maturing soul within. He had begun to get restless, yet still he must work, even to eat and to have a place to sleep. He was in bondage, therefore, to a job he did not particularly like, and had even walked into that bondage gladly, finding it preferable to meeting the demands of other human beings. He had given himself all that he had wanted, and he had lost his freedom. This man was truly puzzled, and so he began to search within himself for the desires that he might have that would be more interesting, that would make his bondage easier, for indeed he was in bondage to his appetite for food and for his daily rest. These things he could not do without unless he was willing to risk the life of a person upon the street. This he was not willing to do. This freedom was too chaotic for him, and yet he wanted freedom. He knew that it existed, and he was positive of its virtue. Restless, often angry, this man grew in years and took long to find his own answers. He began trying to see beneath the surface of things. He began putting down his personal roots out of an instinct more than any knowledge. He found and eventually married a woman whose thoughts he preferred, and in time a family grew. The son now becoming the father, the child the husband, and once again he was asked to be responsible for much, far much more than he had been asked to be responsible for as a child. And again, there were expectations he could fulfill, and there were expectations he could not fulfill. As the years passed, it became very evident to this man that he had found his freedom, for he had found things to love. He found that it was possible with communication to express the difference between those things he could do and those things he could not, and that he had chosen a woman who was able to release him from those things he could not do and to praise him in gratitude for those things he could do. He found himself asking a great many things of his wife and his children, and in wonderment began to find himself a culprit in expecting too much from others, in failing to differentiate between what they could do and what they could not do. My friends, each human who incarnates upon your planet will experience a bewildering array of stimuli. To each of you, many things are given, and from each of you, other things are hidden. Each of you is unique, a mystery one to the other, and misunderstandings are inevitable, and each person feels the prison walls close in, begins to feel as rooted as a tree, his song as aimless as that of a bird, and in many cases this song becomes still and the person bitter as an oak leaf upon the ground. We ask you, my friends, to look upon freedom. You have one freedom, and that is that you may choose the manner of your being. The more that your being has to do with love, the more your manifestation will be service. Service to those whom you love. This is a reflection of your loving, not the loving itself. Each service that you perform for others is a stride along the road of freedom. Each time that you choose the manner of your beingness, you offer yourself a great gift. It is inevitable that there are times when the happenstances of your existence will seem anything but potentially free, when that which you seem to be asked to offer is beyond you. You each have two capacities. One is human. When you deal from the human capacity, and this is, my friends, often in even the life of a saint, then there are many times when you must say in honesty, I cannot do what you wish me to. Forgive me. I am not able. There is another capacity within you, and when you call upon it and are able to become a channel for it so that love flows through you, you may become an infinitely efficient instrument that may manifest that which is desired under any circumstances whatsoever. To do this, you must put yourself at risk. Before you gain a clear channel, you may lose much, for true freedom, my friends, involves deep choices, and when the choices are made, a clear and lucid accountability to yourself. You often must put your foot upon ground you cannot see because you have been asked to do so either by a spirit within you of love and fellowship or by a specific request by one who is in relationship to you. You are asked to see love in moments where there seems to be none, and you step out seeing nothing, and somehow, my friends, the air begins to be solid, and you have ground beneath your feet that you could not see before. The risk is in the choice. Each choice must be true, and you must have the patience to wait for the truth of your seeking to manifest. As we said, during that time, you may feel that you have lost much. You change, you grow, you bear fruit, and often, my friends, the fruit that you are asked to bear does not even make sense in one way or another. Those who will harvest what you sow are unknown to you in some way. The virtue of planting a crop of love and thanksgiving is completely hidden, and yet you choose. Freedom, my friends, is a risky business. We suggest that you aid your own evolution of spirit by daily meditation, by daily contemplation, by daily analysis of your thoughts to the extent that you are able in your environment. What you seek when you seek happiness is an illusion. What you seek when you seek freedom may or may not be an illusion. If you seek freedom from responsibility, you have created a dream within a dream, and you shall be a slave and no free man. When the freedom that you seek is the freedom to love and to serve, you stand on firm ground, not safe ground, my friends. For to love is not easy, to serve is most difficult, to communicate is treacherous, to share deeply of yourself is painful, and yet love abides and draws you to it. For you are that which loves and that which is love. You are both sides of the magnet, which is the creation. The great attractive force is the same force that created you, and that force is love. Do you wish to be free? Then prepare yourself for a bumpy ride through life, but a joyous one. For when you give and count not the cost, you purchase that which has no price. It is written in your holy works, "You who sow in tears shall reap in joy." May your tears be blessed, may your joy be great, and may your seeking be filled with the love and the light which are the manifestations of the one infinite Creator, which speaks through us to you and from you to us, echoing and re-echoing over and over the great rhythms of thanksgiving. My friends, the trees do clap their hands, and the birds do sing for joy. And this dwelling place is not static, but rather a nurturing and living environment. And you within it are also love. You have two things not given to houses and trees and birds. You have movement and you have self-consciousness. May you find freedom in your movements. May you go in peace to serve and to love in whatever way the day has called forth for you. You do not know what tomorrow will call forth for you. You only know what is asked today. Therefore, we ask you to attempt to serve in the present tense, to bend your motions, your thoughts, intellectual and emotional, to the present moment and the present movement, the present dynamic, the present people, the present situation. You have self-consciousness. What shall you do with your awareness? We trust that you may find in your adventures much about which to laugh and commiserate, with whom to share the laughter. And in the darkest moment, we ask you to use your self-awareness to seek the kingdom of the Creator that is within you, and that will inform you in a loving and gracious way, so that you may indeed manifest that which you wish, so that you may indeed have understanding and knowledge, or in the absence of that, hope and faith. You may depend upon each other, and yet always remember each is limited. Each may have trouble communicating his limitations. Depend first upon the Creator and seek that Creator constantly within yourself in quiet and in confidence. For you seek only to remember, you seek only to return, and just as you give to another's harvest, so others will sow for you, that you may reap joy from them. How surprised man is to find joy in the narrow span of life. How unsurprised he is to find sorrow. May you be surprised consistently, my friends. We leave you in the love and in the light, in the joy and the laughter, and in the unity of our infinite creation. Again, we thank you for allowing us to share our foolish thoughts with you, and ask you in all humility to never take anyone's word for anything spiritual, least of all ours. Do not depend upon Hatonn or any other spiritual source, but only yourself. You are the evaluator of all that you hear. Much may be nothing to you. There is no promise of sureness to the spiritual path, only the promise of great and continuing risk, of an enormous vulnerability, of a sensitivity that will be with you always as you seek to learn. We are with you on that path, vulnerable, foolish, and at the same time, perfect, perfected in love and one with the Creator. We are those of Hatonn. Adone, my friends, Adone Vasu Baragas.